Please welcome Raina Abdelbaki, who is our chair for this session. Raina Abdelbaki is Executive Director of Sanabel, the microfinance network of Arab countries, and is based in Egypt.
Good afternoon, everyone. As you've heard, my name is Raina Abdelbaki. I'm the Executive Director of Sanabel, the microfinance network for the Arab region. I'll be chairing this afternoon's session entitled Using Microfinance to Ensure Sustainable Rural Livelihoods and Food Security While Mitigating Climate Change. This is a unique plenary today, as we're going to have two papers in discussion. The first one is going to be titled Using Microfinance plus Agricultural Services to Improve Rural Livelihoods and Food Security. Our presenter for this paper is Shameran Abed, who is the program head of Microfinance at BRAC. The second paper is titled Towards Reinventing Microfinance Through Solving the Last Mile Problem, Bringing Clean Energy Solutions and Actionable Information to the Poor. The author of this paper is Mr. Alex Counts, President and CEO of Grameen Foundation in the US. We also have a number of panelists, including Mr. Prakash Bakshi, Chairman of the National Bank for Agricultural and Rural Development, NABARD in India, Mr. Claudio Gonzalez Vega, Professor Emeritus at Ohio State University in the US, and Nicola Armacost, Managing Director of ARC Finance in the United States as well. I'd like to remind all the delegates that the two papers we're about to discuss can be found in the book New Pathways Out of Poverty, which you can find in your registration bag. The Spanish and French versions are not here in yet, so you will be able to access them online later on. So in a moment, I'll ask our first presenter to take 10 minutes to summarize this paper written by the BRAC team, titled Using Microfinance plus Agricultural Services to Improve Rural Livelihoods and Food Security. Afterwards, I'll ask Mr. Alex Counts to take 10 minutes to summarize his paper, followed by 8 minutes of comments from the panelists. After their remarks, we will go to questions and comments from the audience. Those who wish to pose a question or comment to our panelists should write their questions on the notepads, which you can find in your registration bags. You'll also be told to pass those sheets of paper towards the center for collection. So, without further ado, please, I'd like to ask Mr. Shameran Abed, the Program Head of Microfinance at BRAC in Bangladesh, to give us highlights of the BRAC paper over the next 10 minutes. So, Mr. Abed, please.
Thank you, Rania. It's a real privilege to be here and to present this paper titled Microfinance and Agricultural Services to Improve Rural Livelihoods and Food Security. Let me begin by recognizing the four authors of the paper, Sir Fazli Hassan Abed, Dr. Mahbub Hussain, Susan Davis, and Rod Dubitsky. Unfortunately, none of the four could be here to attend this summit, so I am presenting the paper on their behalf. Let me just give you a brief outline of what I'm going to highlight over the next 10 minutes. I will start with making a case for combining microfinance with other services, particularly agricultural services. I will also highlight different ways and approaches adopted by MFIs in combining microfinance and agricultural services, and end with speaking more specifically about BRAC's approach to Microfinance Plus, as well as a couple of other organizations that this paper has looked at. So to begin with, let me outline the key reasons why it is critical for MFIs to think about going beyond mere financial services. Firstly, financial services alone is not enough. If the goal of our organizations is to lift people out of poverty, then we need to realize that we need to do more than just credit and savings. We need to provide access to training, high-quality inputs, access to markets, etc., which are all critical services that play a critical role in breaking the cycle of poverty. Secondly, MFIs have the ability to efficiently reach the last mile. Distribution is a real challenge in reaching essential services to the poor, and we rarely discuss this. MFIs can effectively bridge the gap by leveraging their extensive distribution channels and outreach. And thirdly, Plus services can help improve credit performance because after all, when our clients do well, so do we. Moving on to combining agriculture with microfinance, the paper identifies 3 reasons for doing this. The first 2 are enhanced food security and decreased reliance on food aid. By producing more food locally, reliance on food aid and other unsustainable food trade practices is greatly reduced. This in turn has a strong positive effect on national GDP and is significantly more cost-effective than importing large amounts of food. Also, microfinance and agricultural services, in most cases, tend to be gender sensitive. Loans are frequently issued to women, who comprise 43% of agricultural labor and produce 60 to 80% of food in the developing world. And yet they earn 22% less than men. If women gain access to the same agricultural inputs as men, farm production can increase by 20 to 30% and 2.5% on a national level. This can reduce the number of undernourished people in the developing world by up to 17%, or 150 million people worldwide. So how can MFIs do this? The paper identifies 2 key services that MFIs can produce to poor rural farmers. Firstly, MFIs can bridge the funding gap. As it is, MFIs bolster agricultural development simply through their presence in the rural communities, because so much of the economic activity of rural communities is based around agriculture. However, according to the World Bank's 2008 World Development Report, financial constraints are still more pervasive in agriculture due to the fact that the requirements of agricultural development dwarf the scale of standard microfinance. So, to meaningfully contribute to agricultural development and to bridge the existing funding gap, MFIs should offer agricultural financing directly and agricultural services, whether directly or through linkages with other organizations. And also, MFIs can create a network effect because we are a natural delivery vehicle for agricultural development services. We have large networks of rural poor customers and can introduce enhanced farming methods across a broad range of clients at limited cost. In short, this creates a network effect that permits far more rapid deployment of solutions to the poor. Let me highlight 3 different approaches to delivering agricultural services that MFIs can adopt depending on their scale, capacity, and the resources available to them. First, there is the linked structure, which has been adopted by the Amhara Credit and Savings Institution in Ethiopia. In this structure, the MFI provides the financial services, while linking farmers to other enterprises and organizations that can meet their agriculture-specific needs of the borrowers. The second is a parallel structure, which we have adopted at BRAC, whereby we have one set of staff providing financial services to our clients and separate sets of staff providing value-added services in agriculture. This approach is used throughout BRAC, even in the provision of health, education, and other services. And thirdly, there is a unified structure, which has been adopted by Thailand's Bank for Agriculture and Agriculture Cooperatives, whereby both financial and agricultural services are provided by the same staff. Let me shift now to some actual examples, and I'll start with BRAC, the organization I work for and know the best. BRAC recognized early on that merely lending to the poor would not be sufficient to lift them out of poverty. As a result, BRAC created a number of agricultural enterprises and services that could dramatically enhance the business prospects of BRAC's microfinance borrowers and other members of the community beyond mere disbursement of loans. This figure illustrates BRAC's holistic approach to farmer support. BRAC's approach to agricultural development relies on a sustainable market-based approach. BRAC's approach can be thought of in the context of a micro-franchise, from the input suppliers to the farmers, to the extension workers, to the buyer. BRAC views each unit as one component of a micro-franchise ecosystem. Each component of the system is able to leverage BRAC's brand and process, and each player is provided an optimal mix of incentives and training to keep the ecosystems perpetually functioning. Let me illustrate this with a specific example of BRAC's role in building a reliable seed production and distribution chain in Bangladesh. To provide some background, first of all, In 1996, BRAC responded to limited availability of high-quality seeds to poor farmers by engaging in seed production, processing, and marketing. Through BRAC's agriculture extension program, clients began receiving support on vegetable cultivation, crop diversification, and accessing a modern soil testing laboratory. BRAC also created a tissue culture laboratory in 1998. In 2000, BRAC began producing high-yield variety rice seed. A year later, BRAC began hybrid rice seed production and variety development research in response to farmer demands. BRAC now has 2 seed processing centers, 18 seed production farms, and 50 seed distribution depots. BRAC also has established 22 seed marketing outlets to enable distribution to 260 dealers across the country. So if you look at the slide, you'll see the first 2 relate to bridging the funding gap, which is that a BRAC microfinance member has less than 0.5 acres of land and receives training, technical assistance, and a loan to invest in farming. Then she buys high-yield variety rice seeds from BRAC. She learns about BRAC's new hybrid rice seed variety. She switches to hybrid rice variety and improves her yield by 20%. And then she takes a larger loan to grow her business. I'll end today by highlighting 3 other approaches to combining microfinance and agriculture. First, Basics in India employs the unified structure, providing both financial and agricultural services. Basics recognizes that for effective promotion and support of small and marginal farmers, it is necessary to work along the value chain by providing livelihood finance offered in the form of microfinance, agriculture and business development, and institutional development services in an integrated manner. Secondly, the Bank for Agriculture and Agricultural Services in Thailand also employs the unified structure. BRAC lending relies on the joint liability group approach for more than 3/4 of their borrowers. BRAC employs a standardized loan repayment structure, which doesn't have the same flexibility as other repayment plans, but has an emergency fund for low loan repayment due to natural disasters or droughts. And lastly, the Amhara Credit and Savings Institution in Ethiopia employs the linked structure. ACSI provides a variety of financial services, including savings mobilization, microinsurance, money transfers, and fund management. It then links its loan-approved agricultural borrowers to external institutions and provides agricultural services. Ladies and gentlemen, let me end by reiterating once again that if we're interested in pulling large numbers of people out of poverty, it will require a multidimensional approach, and we, the MFI sector, are ideally placed to leverage our extensive network and outreach to provide a broad range of financial and non-financial services. We really ought to think about going beyond savings and credit, and we need to think about what other services we can provide our clients. Thank you very much, and I look forward to your questions.